Welcome to Aligned for Success podcast, where we help chiropractors create practices that truly serve their life's vision. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki, and I'm here to show you how to break free from stagnation, grow your practice, and rediscover the joy of why you became a chiropractor to begin with. Whether you're looking to boost your revenue, spend more time with family, or simply enjoy practice life again, you're in the right place. Let's align your path to success. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Aligned for Success. Today, I want to talk to you about what to do when you feel like you're failing. And so that is something that I think we've all felt. And it's the moment where you're just staring at your life or your business, your relationships, and you're just thinking, wow, I suck and I am failing. Now, before you grab a blanket and go hide under the covers, I want you to know that you are in good company. I have been there, you've been there, and let me tell you something else. Even the people that you look up to the most have also been there too. In fact, I feel like I'm going through it this week. So if you've ever just had an off week where you feel like nothing is going right at your business, nothing is just going your way, and you're like, what am I even freaking doing? So it's happened to all of us, and I really just want to talk you guys through about some things that you can do to help pull you out of this feeling of failing. So first, let's talk about why this feeling hits us so hard. For starters, if you're a high achiever, and I would think that most people listening to this podcast are, you're used to setting big goals. And sometimes these goals can be not as easy to reach as we thought. I don't want to say unrealistic, because I believe that no matter what goals you set, we can somehow achieve them. So when we don't hit these big goals, especially on the first try, we often label it as a failure. And so number two, thanks to social media, we are all constantly comparing ourselves to everyone else's highlights reel. So you see someone else celebrating a huge month, and suddenly, no matter what you did in your business, it feels so tiny, even if it was still a great month for you and a huge step forward. We all feel that comparison syndrome. And number three, and the most important, our brains are wired to notice problems more than progress. It's a survival mechanism, but in business and life, it means we often overlook the dozens of things that are working, and we always fixate on the one or two things that aren't. But of course, there's always good news. And so feeling like you're failing doesn't mean that you actually are failing. It means that you're mid-story. It means that your next breakthrough is coming through. So when stuff feels really freaking hard, something so good is right on the other side. And so that middle part is right where the magic can happen. And so whenever you're in that quote, I'm failing spiral, the very first thing that I want you guys to do is hit pause. So it's really easy to let our emotions start to take over, but you should never make a big decision from an emotional headspace. Give yourself a little breathing room so you can separate fact from feelings. So here are two questions that help me every single time when I feel like I'm just not living up to my highest potential. Number one, is this actually failure or just a delay or a detour? And number two, my most favorite, will this actually matter in 6 months? And most of the time, that answer is no. Then I like to write down two lists. One side is what's actually happening, and then the other side is what am I telling myself? And it's amazing how different those lists can be. One is fact, one is fear. So when you're listing these two lists and you see it on paper, what happens is the fear actually loses a lot of its power. Next, you've got to reframe the story that you're telling yourself. Here's the truth. Most successful people got where they are by stacking a lot of small failures together and learning from each one. Instead of saying, I'm not cut out for this. I've said it this week. I'm not cut out for this. I'm just in my growth phase. I am learning. Instead of saying, I blew it. I made a mistake. Try saying, now I know what doesn't work, and now I know how to pivot with the expectations. This shift is not just motivational fluff. It will literally change the way that your brain starts to look for solutions. One of my favorite people to listen to is Taylor Welch, and he talks about this concept called looping. And looping is basically like when you wake up with anxiety, and it's because you're anticipating what comes next in your day. Instead of doing that, how can we rewire our brain to not get into that looping pattern? So it's really cool, but this is the same concept of rewiring and changing the way that your brain instead starts to look for solutions. So when you see it as learning instead of losing, you're way more likely to take action. And our next step is to make sure we're taking the next right step. And here's where people get stuck. They try to fix everything all at once. And so it's like trying to clean up after your 6-year-old's messy closet in 10 minutes. It's completely overwhelming. So we need to just pick one small, doable action that you can do today. Not the 12-month plan, not the massive overhaul, not the burn it all down to the ground plan. What is one small, doable action that I can do today to help propel myself and get myself back on track and moving in the right direction? If your revenue is down, let's just use that as an example. Maybe you need to make 3 phone calls to past clients. So people who you really liked, people who you're not sure why they just kind of disappeared, pick up the phone, give them a call, and just simply see how they're doing. If you're struggling with consistency, maybe something you could do is map out tomorrow's schedule and just stick to it. Small wins stack. And stacking wins builds your confidence. And so confidence is always key when getting ourselves out of these negative mindsets. Next, what you can do is lean on people who get it. So the last piece is just stop trying to muscle through it all alone. Isolation makes everything feel so much better. Now, I'm not saying that you should call your friend and that you should just vent about how much of a failure you feel like, or tell them every detail of a specific situation. But what you should do instead is call a mentor, join a mastermind, grab coffee with a friend who gets it, get into a better headspace, borrow their perspective for a minute. Many times we see things totally differently than the situation actually is. And so having that outside perspective, they can be like, no, Nikki, that's not the situation, and you're not failing. You're doing a great job. And so you're not stuck. You're not stagnant. Look at all of the progress that you've made over the last 6 to 8 months to a year. And so they're just there to truly remind you of progress that you have probably forgotten about. And so we've all also done that too. Here's the thing too, guys. When you let someone in, you're not just helping yourself, you're also giving them permission to share their own messy story with you too. So they can be like, girl, if you think that's bad, let me tell you about this one time when I did X, Y, and Z. And so we just love to hear other people's stuff too. So just to recap, when you feel like you're failing, take these 4 steps. Number 1, pause and get perspective. Don't make any decisions from an emotional headspace. Number 2, reframe the story. What's true and what is a lie? Number 3, take one next right step. And number 4, lean on your people that you know can help you out of this. And so guys, you are not failing. You are learning, you are growing, and you're still in the middle of your story. And this chapter, it is truly not the ending. And so if you guys have a story to share with me, I would love to hear it. So shoot me a DM on Instagram and tell me about a time when you feel like you were failing. And then I also want you to follow it up with the biggest win win that you've had in the last 2 weeks. And I promise you that win is always, always bigger than that failure that you think you're in the middle of. And so until next time, guys, just keep going. And please remember that you are doing better than you think. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Aligned for Success. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to Aligned for Success. If today's episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This helps other chiropractors find their way to practice freedom too. Remember, true success comes from when your practice aligns with your life's purpose. Until next time, I'm Dr. Nikki, reminding you that a thriving practice and a fulfilling life go hand in hand. See you next week.